And that too is there's a couple different specific incidences where one person goes and like you said, kill. There's a one of David's top three kills 800 at one
Yeah.
time. Dog the Edomite, he kills 86 at one time, and then the whole town of Nob.
Mhm.
So it's these few examples of people going in and doing it by themselves. And if you backtrack all of them, there's Nephilim details
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Like Joab, so Jerusalem used to be Jebus for the Jebusite, is Jebusite land. And Jebusite is one of the main giants from the Promised Land. And they actually they were one of four tribes that were not rid and actually got to stay over and live. Um, but so oh man, I lost where I was going to go with it. But anyways, so you got an example with the threshing floor with Ornan the Jebusite,
Mhm.
right? Oh, that's where it was. Nabal. So another example is from the Promised Land, Nabal, one of the Ishgadals I was going to tell you about. The normal story is, David's got his mighty men and he's on his crazy journey, and all this stuff. And they stop at the man named Nabal. He's a great man in the land, and he was churlish and evil.
Yeah.
So great, churlish, evil. Which is it, right? Now they ask him, say, "Hey, we haven't had any trouble. I was wondering if you can kind of give us some help."
Yeah.
And the guy freaks out, and it's a thing, and it's a thing, and a blah. Well, when you research it, he's not a great man. He's an Ishgadal from Carmel. Carmel is one of the lands from the Promised Land that were rid, and that's why they say that we never had any trouble. Meaning, we were getting rid of y'all, but we let you stay, and we haven't had any trouble. Can you help us out?
Yeah.
And he is also churlish and evil because he's a Calebite. And Calebite, you research that. That's the dogman stuff.
Yeah.
And his nephew Othniel was the first judge of Israel, and Othniel literally means violent lion of God. And the story of Othniel being chosen as judge even backs that point, because judges, the point of judges. Well, Israel finds themselves in 8-year rule from a tyrant, and they reach out and they're like, please, please help us. And it says specifically, God gave them Othniel. His spirit came upon Othniel. He was already there. He was already existing. He
Yeah.
had a house.
Yeah.
They knew him. It means that he became more,
Yeah.
and that's same too. Like with Samson, he wasn't strong all the time. The spirit would come upon him. So these super crazy stories that just tie Nephilim everywhere.
Yeah.
And my opinion on this whole thing is, the other day I'm cooking, and my youngest daughter, she's like, "Hey, we always talk about giants." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." She's like, "Well, you heard about the woman with snakes for her hair?" I'm like, "Medusa, yeah." She's like, "Yeah, we're learning about mythology," and it clicked for me. It's like I learned about mythology when I was a kid. Same stuff, same
Mhm.
exact stuff. You're telling me in all of these years, there's been no development. There's no difference. We don't know any other um, old religions and stuff like that. Like we know about Mayans, but we don't exhaustively study them,
Right.
or all this stuff. And you
The
see the point
Olmecs and
I'm
stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah.
yes. So my point is I started to kind of pay attention to those patterns along with the Bible patterns that I'm seeing with Nephilim. And history is told by the victors of war.
Mhm.
You've heard that,
Yeah.
right? Because you ask the people that lost the war, how did it go? Yeah, it's going to be a different story.
Yeah.
Federal Reserve, Rome, Mesopotamia, Egypt, all had the same logo, the bird.
Mhm.
Freemasonry comes from Egypt. We know this stuff, but does it specifically? I get this whole King Nephilim thing is like those civilizations never collapsed. They changed for the times.
Yeah.
They adapted for the times. And that's why we're still here now being taught, force fed, I should say, the mythology. And it's just mythology. Well, then why are we taking tests on it? Why do we have to know this stuff?
Yeah.
Because they're just trying to keep this going and going and going.
Yeah, and to back you up on that too, they'll do it under the guise of what they call world history, right? Like I'm really big. I like history in general, right? But I'm well versed in mythology, lore, ancient pantheons, Greeks, Romans, and all of that other stuff, right? But around the entire world, everybody's taught those. Spain, Japan, you name it. The Philippines, Australia, they're all taught Rome, 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 Rome. Rome conquered the world. Well, no, not necessarily the world, the known world. Well, you know what? And when you dig deeper, you guys knew a lot about it going on. But you're absolutely right. And I actually have a theory on the reason why they do that as well. Two things. I actually think Medusa was real. I think she was either some type of Anunnaki, or I call them the Nephilim, or the Watchers, a creation based on some of the architecture that I've seen. Not architecture, I'm sorry. Sculptures that look so human, and a lot of them are missing their hands or their feet. Is because they had 6 fingers and 6 toes on them. And it's like, if you ever look at that, if you ever look at all these amazing things, they're always missing arms, or they're missing hands, or whatever, right? Every now and then they'll slip up. Like Buddha had 6 fingers. And if you go to Thailand and some of his temples, you'll see Buddha statues with him having 6 fingers. And then they changed it later to 5 because, you know, he's supposed to be just like you and me, not walk. When they say he's literally walking across a rainbow bridge, right? So, and then you hear that, and then you hear that's what the Norse said their gods traveled on, what they would call the Bifrost or the Rainbow Bridge. But particularly on when it comes to the study of the Roman pantheon, and I'll just use Rome, but it was actually started in Greek. It was probably a lot earlier than that. And when you see that the United States of America, which hands down, I was just here on Saturday. I've been there more than usual. I've been in DC these last 2 months. People go down there and like, oh, look at the amazing buildings, but no one ever stops to look at what's carved above those pillars, or what's carved in it, or that the world's largest phallic symbol of a freaking obelisk is right there. And it's because, and I'm starting to hear it in our communities as well, where they're saying things like, oh, the Anunnaki are returning. They won't call them the Watchers, because Satan doesn't want you to think that they're real angels. They're UFOs, right? They're returning. They're returning. They're returning. And they want to be able to say, look, in the story that rolls out, when they say that, if you believe in the rapture or not, okay, just go with this, Enigmites. The rapture happens, and they say that those aliens did it. But the Anunnaki are here to save us when they come back, right? So here's this new space race, right? We all got to come together. We all got to come together. AI is going to lead us, and here's this new AI body, right? When they roll that stuff back out, that's where I think they're kind of like, plowing the field to plant those seeds even more. And I came across some scriptures in the book of Revelations that I never noticed before.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.